our amazing guest is Cheryl Fraser. And Cheryl is a plant-based nutritionist, I have to read it, and clinical aromatherapist. In 2015, she developed a moisturizer, Dermazeam, to treat her teenage daughter's eczema. Today, her family-run business provides natural skincare product solutions for people prone to eczema and dry skin conditions. Nutrition also plays a major role in maintaining good health, which Karen shares freely through her Facebook support group. And I have Carol's information, all your links. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but all of that is going to be posted here so the women in this group can have access to that. And tonight, Carol, you are going to be talking about how your adversity can improve the lives of others. So, Carol, I can't ask you to tell us a bit about yourself, but just because I've given a little nutshell here, tell us a bit about how your entrepreneurial journey started. First of all, are you a born entrepreneur? Do you feel that you were a born entrepreneur?
No, I never felt I was a born entrepreneur, but what I do know, and in fact, I have reflected on this in the last couple of days since you invited me here, and I've always been, I never thought of myself as creative, never thought of myself as creative at all. You know, in fact, at school, in my first early years of school, I was very quiet, you know, child, and I'd been bullied a bit, so I was very shy. I've never wanted to be seen, and I kind of grew up this notion that really I can't. It was my word. I can't, and yes. But I always used to have kind of creative thoughts and dreams about what I might want to do, but never feeling like I could carry them out.
Right, okay. And this is something I hear a lot from women and women I work with, you know, but there was something you said in there that's a really golden nugget for me. And it's that creative bit, you know, a little hint of that, the imaginings, so to speak. And those were the early seeds, you know, that have now blossomed in ways you could not have seen back then. Isn't that awesome? Fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So how did this entrepreneurial journey start? And for people watching here, Carol's, the name of Carol's business, Carol, your business is Carol's. It's right there, Carol's Organic Kitchen. How did Carol's Organic Kitchen get started?
Well, it was born really out of a very challenging time where my daughter had started secondary school. She had experienced bullying, and as a child in primary school, she was always that happy-go-lucky child, like most children starting first school. She was quite a popular child. She was a very bright child, and she loved school. She loved studying. She was very good at communications and English, and she's quite gifted. But her experience at secondary school at the age of 11 took a downfall in her confidence because she like I said, she was bullied terribly. Some of it was physical, some of it was name calling, some of it was very soul destroying. And my daughter had lost some of her friends as well because they didn't want to be targeted as well.
Right.
And I think where her friends dispersed was when she was walking through the halls, and this is just one of a few incidences. She was walking through the halls going to her class, and she had her skirt ripped down, And then there was rumours going around that she was a lesbian, and she was at a girls' school at the time, girls' Catholic school that I mentored at before my daughter was born. So it was one of my actually third option choice, but she wanted to go to a girls' school like me. But one afternoon, I got a phone call from the head teacher, and this wasn't one for trying to look into the bullying. I didn't have a lot of support from the school. People never heard or saw anything, and people might have had that experience. That's what it's like with bullying. Although there are policies, it's only on paper. But I had a phone call one afternoon from the head teacher who said, well, Miss Fraser, I think you need to come down to the school because Christina needs you. And she sounded very concerned. And I said, well, what's happened? And she said, I think you might need to come down and see to Christina, come and pick up Christina. And I said, you sound very worried. She said, well, I just think you need to leave work and come down now. So, of course, I got down to the school. It's 45 minutes later from where I flew down there to find out what happened, what was going on with Christina. And when I got there, it was the end of the school day. My daughter was on her own in the corridor there where there was some seating. Most of the lights were out. It's just the background lights. And I think there was a janitor in the background. I can't remember. But there was no one to be seen, no head teacher. And I reached out to Christina and said, Christina, is everything all right? And she seems very quiet. She was talking above a whisper. She wasn't making much sense. I hadn't picked up on anything until I was saying to her, let's go home, let's talk, let's, you know, because something seemed off, but I still hadn't clicked what happened. And she was quite fearful at actually taking steps to go out the door. I discovered there was something seriously wrong with my daughter, and I had to get her assessed, and she'd experienced a psychotic episode. Now, following on from that, my daughter was admitted to a children's psychiatric unit. She was catatonic, fearful, and incontinent, and very, very paranoid. And at times she didn't even recognize me. And she spent 6 months recovering, although it took 3 weeks for her to come out of the psychotic episode, but she needed further support, you know, sort of integrating her back into learning, doing a bit of cognitive behavioral therapy. But in the first week of being admitted, the consultant wanted to administer antipsychotics. And ironically, this was a medication that in my last city role, I was a PA company coordinator for a US drugs company. This was one of our drugs. And I was quite concerned. She was 11 years old. She didn't have a history of mental illness. And I had said, well, it's barely a week. Can we see how my daughter's going to come out of this? And perhaps look at some, you know, organic investigations to see what's going on so that we know eventually what we're treating, you know, when she comes through. Well, that consultant was never to be seen again from that first meeting. But, you know, further on during, you know, within the 3 weeks, my daughter had kind of had recovered. The therapists who were meeting with me week in, week out had said that I'd made the right decision. And one of the reasons for not wanting to put her on that as well is that you can't just come off these medications. It has a whole host of other side effects. And one of them was actually anxiety. And I thought, well, she has enough anxiety. And also, it's not something you can come on and off. So I thought, well, let's look
so
at
young. Wow.
And let's treat it for the long term. Exactly. So anyway, speeding up a bit further on, when I did manage to get investigations, one of them was a lumbar puncture, which brought up that Christina had an acute stress reaction. She had a chemical imbalance in her body. And this chemical traveled the spine and hit the brain, rendering her psychotic.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked to see the results, the doctor at that time, he was a junior doctor consultant, who presented me with what looked like a scientific sheet. But what jumped out to me was the word anti-GAD, and I asked him what that meant, and he said we would go. He would arrange for the senior consultant to meet with me to discuss it further. So I waited.
And this was, sorry, Carol, what was that word you said? What was the word that jumped out?
Anti-GAD, ANTIGAD. Right. So then I waited, and during, a short period, I thought, well, I'm going to do my own research here, and I linked it to it's linked to diabetes. And although she's not diabetic, she produced a lot of this in her system, hit the brain, and it caused her to have a mental breakdown, i.e. psychotic episode from that acute stress reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I linked diabetes to diet and felt that this must be some way that I can help her through diet, and the fact that she was a young adolescent with, hormonal changes and, chemicals going on in the body with growing.
Yeah.
And I got radical and decided, through having done a lot of research, also studying plant-based nutrition, what may possibly help her. We had gone on a journey from kind of being fully fledged meat eaters, meat and potatoes every day kind of diet, to vegetarian. We did raw, and then we went vegan. My daughter was feeling so much better. She was more positive. Her cognitive health was better. Her confidence was coming back. She was feeling so much better in herself. And she was the one that pushed me over the edge to go vegan one day in the kitchen.
Wow.
And said, I was about to make an omelette. And she said, Mum, why don't we go vegan? And it's been the best choice ever since, because what I've learned, what I've researched, and what I've studied has begun to help others. And at that time, she also suffered a huge flare, her eczema flare. It was horrendous.
So tell us a bit about that. Tell us a bit more about, tell us a bit more about your daughter's eczema, because that was a big piece, wasn't it?
Well, her neck was very dry. It was black almost, and her back was thickened and dark. She had dark marks in her flexures, in the insides of her arms and legs, and it was extremely full, and she would cover it up. So she was always very self-conscious of that. She actually suffered another episode, psychotic episode, although it was short-lived. It was a month. I say short-lived because from 6 months to a month of admission was shorter, and that was a post-traumatic stress disorder where she settled into a new school. She had this horrible eczema. She didn't want to be seen or bullied, and she felt isolated because she'd missed out on year 7. But I began to start to understand more about oils, studying aromatherapy, and putting a formula together which actually helped my daughter, encompassed with the diet, heal from eczema.
Right. So just give us a little bit of a snapshot here, Carol. What was the duration of the journey from, your daughter's first psychotic episode, really dramatic? It just, every pore on my body raised, and I just sat here trying so hard to not cry, because it's really heart-wrenching. You're sitting here as a
it still hurts, it's
of course, and the lack of support.
Lack of support, yes, much so.
How long was that journey? Sorry.
So she was 11 years old when it happened, and her recovery came in her early teens, where she built up a lot more strength. I mean, I encouraged her, reminded her how brilliant she was, the friends she had, who she was, and to love yourself, know yourself, believe in yourself. This is what you are, not what you were. And not wanting her to take that horrific experience and bring that transgress through her life. So from and then from the age of 11, right through to 13, 14, when she got a bit stronger. And I was under this consultant who I felt really undermined me, because I tried to push for organic investigations by asking, by requesting. At times I felt not heard. I'd be in the room with him and my daughter, and I felt he wasn't even looking at me or talking to me. I know you have to focus on the child. It was adolescent, the adolescent who was in need here, but I was her carer, and I'm the person with consent as to what happens to my daughter. But all he wanted to try and do was push her down the road of taking medications. But I wanted her to have some kind of talking therapy. And I felt I had to do that. I had to be there to talk to my daughter, to get through to Christina, the Christina we all knew and loved. And I self-referred her to West London Action for Children. And I never got that linked support with the adolescent service, with that consultant, with West London Action for Children, who did a tremendous job in helping Christina and gain her confidence back again and do some proper clinical therapy with her.
Fantastic. I am so sorry. I have to dash. I should have done this before. My apologies. I've got to dash and get my charger before I lose you.
Yes,
bear with me.
No worries.
A bit of noise, excuse it.
I know a busy day that you've had, Cheryl. I know how busy your day gets, and you've got a daughter as well, and trying to manage your business. This is every mum's kind of, you know.
Exactly. The real
juggling so many hats.
Thanks for understanding the real world life of mums.
Yeah, this is
mums
live.
in business. Yeah, yeah. All right, we're back. We're here. Sorry, ladies, and thanks for hanging in there. All right. So yes. So now the eczema, the neck, the inside of the arm, the flexures there, the back of the knee, and her back. And I think, yeah, this is where our journey kind of started. And, you know, kind of there's some parallel here, because my daughter also has eczema, and it's been a journey, right? So tell us about the success. And I probably, you know, just kind of jumped things there, but tell us about when things started to change, flip around. So first there was the improvement by way of diet. And diet, yes, I'm absolutely sure. But I think, I can't help but think a lot of your daughter's recovery, how much, Sharon, would have had to do with the mother she had as well, you know, the person that you are, and how you cared for, loved, nurtured her back to wellness. Yes, starting with the diet, but also by the way you showed up and was present, as challenging as it was for you as well at that time, but just by your way of being during that period would have been medicine for her soul as well.
Well, one thing I want to point out is this. When we're talking, we would do anything for our children, right? When we're talking to our children, and at that time I had to talk to my child and build her up. So she remembered you know, what she's capable of, and that she is a strong person. She is a beautiful person inside and out, because she was made to feel ugly, stupid. Even the way she talked, there was nothing wrong with the way she talked, but she started believing these things. We need to talk to ourselves, our inner child, in exactly that same way. As adults, we're so hard on ourselves. We put barriers in our way. We don't believe in what we can do. And I think out of that challenge came tenacity, and that's what we need. And I would encourage anybody who may be going, it could be anything, they could be going through uncertainty right now with work, there may be financial difficulties, because we're in a changing world right now, we're on uncertain times. Maybe we feel lost, we might be feeling depressed, we might be feeling useless, we might be going back to the past and beating ourselves up. And all I would say is, it's not over. You have to find that inner strength for yourself. Imagine yourself as that child, okay? And you're the mother, or you're the auntie, or the grandmother, talking to that child, or a child who you can see is going through some of the things that I've just mentioned. Imagine yourself as that person. Talk to yourself. Positivity doesn't just happen. You have to create it. I even sometimes, I work so hard, I don't have a lot of a social life, not that we have much social life going on now with COVID, but it can become a lonely and sometimes quite depressing experience. I can read so many books, I can research so much, that's my passion, but you need to be kind to yourself. And some of the things that I do in order to bring up my positivity is write 3 things that I want to achieve today. It could be something like filming, which I do every day, doing a little family mini series about our journey, our business. The second one could be, I want to fill out this form that I've been putting off. And a third thing could just simply be cleaning the living room. And because I've completed each, don't set yourself too many high, tasks that it's going to be hard to achieve. You feel you've got to drag yourself up and do it. And if you do that mountainous thing, you might not be able to even achieve one. But I can achieve these 3 things, simple things each day that I put down in my Samson notes diary that I will do. And when I do, it gives you a sense of achievement. It gives you a sense of gratification. It gives you an adrenaline rush, and that will give you much more positivity. And also, the hardest challenges in your life could be the best times of your future. What we went through.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Exactly. But it brings out this inner strength in you that you never thought you had. Just coping with those times. Think about the hardest thing you've ever had to do. Maybe the most even humiliating thing that you've been through, but you got through it. You can overcome these barriers. You can use your challenges to be your strengths. If you have a passion, if there's something that excites you, that you would be happy doing 7 days a week, that might be something that you really need to start doing in your life. I treated my role as a nutritional advisor, running my workshops, showing people how to make natural skincare, looking after themselves. I treated it like a hobby until I got to a place of pain. And it's always when you get to a place of pain, and that pain was being financially broke. and I hate
that is oftentimes what it is for a lot of us women, and I think you've spoken for a lot of us women also, because so many of us we treat our businesses like a hobby initially, and sometimes for quite a long time. and that's just not sustainable. It's okay if you have a hobby, it's okay if that's what you want. But if your hobby is costing you literally your peace of mind, sleep, um, and just your prosperity, if it's costing you those things, if it's costing you
time is very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's costing you that, well, your hobby is too expensive. Your hobby is way too expensive, and it's not serving. It's not serving you, and it's not serving the people that it's meant to serve. So I totally agree with that. But I just wanted to say, because we're going to wrap now, because I did promise, that we're going to be around the 30 minutes or so. We're just over by a bit. But your offer, all your links will be posted. Tell us a bit about your offer. It's one of your products, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Because go ahead.
Our main offer, our main product is Dermazeam. That was the original cream I developed in my kitchen for my daughter that helped her with the symptoms of eczema. Helped with the wounds repairing, with the lacerations on her skin. It cleared up all the dark scarring, which was tremendous for her because that brought her confidence back. And now she's got lovely, bright, healthy skin. It smooths the skin, it eases irritation. But all the other products I've developed around Dermazeam are what I would call brothers and sisters. And they marry really well together to work to help the skin repair and heal.
Right. And how can women, I have to say this, I am impartial to any of the guests that I bring on here, but this is so personal to me, I have to speak to Dermazeam. Our daughter, Makeda, she is 11. I often say she's 12. That's probably because she sounds as if she's going on 20 sometimes, but she's a beautiful soul, having said a 20, going on 20 in a beautiful way. She has had eczema from, she was still in nursery when she had eczema, and we have tried everything under the sun, pretty much, always trying to go as natural as possible. This was an entirely natural. Aveeno was the last bit there, and we just kind of thought, well, what's next? We have tried a natural product, and that we were having some success with that as well. We kind of got to where, okay, we're not, it has kind of just stayed steady here, but, and then beginning to regress. And then I don't know who found who friended who. We were trying to figure this out the other day, Carol, that somehow in us connecting here on Facebook, I somewhere happened upon your Facebook group and got to know about Dermazeam. And I thought, we have tried, first of all, I like the vibe of this lady. I really do. I like the emphasis she gives to nutrition. I can see her recipes as she's cooking them up and stuff. And people spoke very well about Dermazeam. And I thought, what do we have to lose? Let's give it a go. And we have been using Dermazeam on Makeda now. Would we say about 3 weeks to 4 weeks, thereabout, 3 to 4 weeks?
About 3 weeks.
Yeah. I don't think we're on to 4 yet.
Not yet.
And, the back of her neck was the most severe. So you described your daughter's skin as being quite raised and thickened and very, very dark and prickly and just, the itching.
Such itching. Itch, can you imagine?
I know. The itching has subsided massively. She hardly ever itches at all. And I think, what's also so impressive is how her skin looks less angry. The raised bits used to be very obvious, and you can literally seeing it flattening and blending in with the rest of the skin again. It looks quieter, it looks calmer, happier, and her skin tone is also that darkness, that hyperpigmentation is lightening as well. And I'm happy to report it's not 3 weeks, it's not 4 weeks yet. We're on to 3 weeks. The back of her knees, yeah, the eczema's gone. It's gone. So all we have there is darkened area that's beginning to lighten. Her shoulders were almost as bad as her neck. And that has improved massively, and including the inside of her arms as well. So, I can't stop singing the praises. And because, as you said, our children mean the world to us. And it's been such a long journey for her and for us with eczema. Seeing relief finally is really, really heartening. So I personally thank you for that, Carol. Really, we thank you.
No, you're very welcome. I mean, what can I say? It helped my daughter. I hoped it would help others. And I do believe that the intention I put into making that cream, when I make that cream, I put the same intention behind it. And I really pray that it works for everybody. And I think my son told me out of 200 people, 3 people it did not work for.
Wow.
And however, we have had some of the worst cases that it has worked for. It's not for everyone. Some people have tree nut allergies, and pollen allergies, and lavender and coconut are a no-no. But those, in fact, the filming that we're doing, I'm going to be talking more in depth about those benefits and why and how they work. But that is amazing news. I love news like that. I had a woman who was really concerned because the nursery was concerned about her son's eczema, and she was trying everything. And she even brought in the prescriptions to prove that she's doing something about it. And she got that cream, and the result has been amazing for her. She couldn't believe how it worked.
We've got a question. Awesome. We've got a question here. It says Facebook user. I think you have to give StreamYard, I should have said this at the beginning, we have to give StreamYard permission so that they can show your name. But that's okay. The question is from a viewer. Thank you for the question. Does this product work for adults who have scars from childhood?
Work for who?
Adults, for grown-ups. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you about a woman with 15 years. She had suffered with eczema. And it's a young woman from childhood with scars. Before I even launched eczema and going back and forth, a woman came to me and said a few years ago that it got rid of her operational scars. I never knew she had operational scars, but most recently a woman said she had been carrying these scars from childhood, and for 15 years nothing had really worked for the eczema. The scars remained on her skin, and the scars have gone today. She used it possibly over 4-week period. I've got some pictures I'm going to start releasing actually of before and afters, and get some live, some video comments, reviews. But the reviews on the website are amazing as well. I always encourage people when they ask questions, please, before you make your purchase, have a look at the reviews as well after I've had a chat with them. But I have a line on my website. People can ring me and ask all these questions, and there is a chat bot where you can talk to me live. If I'm there, I will come straight back to you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Tell us a little bit about what's in your, don't give away your deepest secrets, but what's in your cream? What's in your lotion? I love the feel of it.
Love.
There we go. You know what? When you touch it, it is whipped with love.
Yes, filled with love and good intention. But it is all plant-based, and I source all the ingredients from organic suppliers. It's virgin coconut oil, raw shea butter, lavender and frankincense. That's Dermazeam. That is it. And that's what the ingredients you'll see on the jar. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. It's got the right formulations. I've had it product safety approved, which took a long time. I don't know why it took so long for natural products to get approved, but it took a very long time for it to get approved. And that's all there is in there.
And it works, and it's natural, so no harm caused there. Oh, Carol, thank you so very much. Is there anything else any other questions there from the ladies watching? We have 3 fantastic viewers. Thank you all so much. Anything else from you, Carol?
All I would say is, I understand when you've used so many other things, even when somebody tells you this cream is perfect, this cream can help or may help and is one of the best creams on the market. All I would say to you is, if you want to try Dermazeam, just to alleviate your reservations, we give a 30-day money back guarantee, no questions asked.